What's going on, everyone? It's Sam. I am AMG, and well, what if I told you that Taskmaster is actually working for Thunderbolt Ross, and that the Thunderbolts, although not fully assembled yet, are the real villains of the Black Widow movie? There's been a lot of new theories, but here's my Black Widow full plot synopsis theory. I'm going to get into how this plot connects to the Infinity Saga timeline, how the Thunderbolts are the underlying villains in the movie, and how this led to Natasha ultimately choosing her fate of sacrifice on Vormir in Avengers Endgame. There's a lot of moving parts in this plot theory, but it does come around full circle by the end, so watch all the way through. It'll help me a lot and help me reach my first goal on the channel, which is hitting 100 subscribers. Now, before I start, I do want to point out that I stay away from all full plot leaks and scripts because I like to enjoy the movies without being spoiled. Obviously, some smaller stuff and common public knowledge things I do know of, but if any of this does turn out to be right, here is my spoiler warning right here. Other than that, let's get into it. Let's go.
Natasha, my sister. After all this time, what brings you home?
I'm on the run. I was trying to do something good.
It's no secret that Thunderbolt Ross doesn't like the Avengers, as we saw throughout the Infinity Saga and especially with the Accords in Civil War. And based on recent leaks that we received of the Thunderbolts coming to the MCU, I think Thunderbolt Ross wants to get his revenge any way that he can, and this theory fits this idea. So leaked set photos from months ago appear to look as if Nat was on the run. I believe this symbolism is saying that she's done running from her past, which has to do with obtaining the Foxcharge, which is the leaked MacGuffin for this movie. So while people believe that this movie revolves around the Red Room, the plot will actually revolve around the Foxcharge, and not the Red Room as everyone thinks. The destruction of the Red Room will act as the catalyst for Yelena, Taskmaster, and the rest of them, so Nat believes they are on her side, when in reality they're on Thunderbolt Ross's side. And notice how I said Taskmaster and Yelena. So I do believe that they are working together throughout this whole movie, possibly even Melina and Red Guardian, but let's start with Taskmaster and General Ross. For my plot theory, I do believe that the movie will start directly from Civil War, so it's made to fit right into the Infinity Saga timeline, and since we know there is a deleted scene with Tony, I do believe it's actually an extension of this scene from Civil War right here.
The doctors say shattered L4 through S1, extreme laceration of the spinal cord, probably looking at some form of paralysis.
Steve's not gonna stop. If you don't either, Rhodey's gonna be the best case scenario.
You let them go, Nat.
We played this wrong.
Boy, it must be hard to shake the double agent thing, huh? Sticks in the DNA.
Are you incapable of letting go of your ego for one goddamn second?
T'Challa told Ross what you did, so they're coming for you.
I'm not the one that needs to watch their back.
Now, he mentions that Ross was going to be on the lookout for her because of what she did. And it's no secret that Ross was working with Tony during Civil War to sign the Accords, so I believe two things must have happened during their time of working together. Number one, Tony showed Ross his photographic reflex tech that we saw in his fight with Cap at the end of Civil War. From here, he either possibly gave him a prototype for the government or military to try, or let's just say that Ross was eventually able to get his hands on it. And number two, Tony possibly gave a potential location as of where Nat could have gone to save his ass from Ross, but not the exact location because obviously him and Nat are still friends. So now, Ross is on the lookout for her, but obviously he can't do it alone, right? So this is where the theory gets really interesting. I believe Thunderbolt Ross met Taskmaster back in the day pre-Infinity Saga, and we all know we will get flashback clips in the movie. So that young de-aged version of Ross came in contact with Taskmaster back in the day. We also received two different Taskmaster looks so far in the trailer, one on the bridge and then one on that tank chase, so it's possible that there's two different points of time where we see Taskmaster. Now, to tie this together, I do believe that Taskmaster is being played by actor O.T. Fagbinal. O.T. is apparently playing a character named Mason, but we've yet to see Mason in the trailer, unless he's the guy behind the mask. And now O.T. was one of the main 5 actors who they did announce at Comic-Con, so I doubt his character isn't important. I think that Taskmaster is O.T.'s character's Mason, except Mason is a cover-up name for his true identity, which is Tony Masters. And OT has actually confirmed this Mason character at Comic-Con, saying that he knows Natasha and has helped her before. I've also heard rumors of him being a love interest, so it's quite possible that they have been together in the past, and now there's bad blood between them. Here's a quick clip from OT about his character Mason.
What can you tell us about your character? Are you the Taskmaster?
I can't talk about that, but I can say that I do help. I'm a fixer for the Black Widow, and things get revealed, I guess.
I love it.
So Taskmaster could be the perfect fit for Ross's plans. And have you noticed that in the Black Widow trailer and in Endgame, Natasha is surrounded by this word family? Now, Ross knows she's on the run and has to trust someone from her past. And even if things ended on bad terms, it seems Mason, as stated by OT, is that person who helps Nat or was her wingman at some point. I think this is how Ross also gets in contact with Mason because he was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. before, so getting in contact with him is how he thinks he can stop Nat. And now, what's better than equipping your assassin with Stark Tech, which is what I think he will exactly do, and it's from what Tony showed him. Based on toy leaks, it appears Taskmaster's mask actually has tech in it, and we can notice it in this leaked photo right here as it symbolizes Iron Man's helmet. And even in this pop figure where that little circle in the middle is, it looks like it's a sensor. So using this Stark Tech and possibly studying the Avengers at some point, Taskmaster using Avengers abilities is a way for him to get tied into the MCU. I think he will overpower her in the beginning, but noticing the Avengers moves, it will be a way for Nat to find out that he can replicate people's iconic abilities. And because of this, if he fights like the Avengers do, she has fought people like Clint in the past and will end up learning how to counter those abilities that Taskmaster is using. Now, if Ross learned anything from the Accords, he knows that he's going to need more than one person. I'm sure that Mason knows Yelena and tells Ross to recruit her, and then Yelena knowing Melina and Red Guardian from the past is her way of getting everyone back together. Now, we take a look at the comics, and the Thunderbolts, Ross has low-key already formed a basis for the team. But what's in it for all of them besides killing Nat? It's the Foxcharge that I mentioned earlier. We know Yelena is a trained killer, and by the way it looks from where she lives or where her and Nat meet up, it seems that she's also on the run and could use a fresh start. Melina's also not likely who she says she is, and there have been rumors that she will become Iron Maiden. Red Guardian's also basically a failed Captain America and is even in jail in these trailers, so what's something that all of these people have in common? It's to get a fresh start. And that's exactly why the Foxcharge will be the center of the plot. Now, I mentioned the Foxcharge, but not exactly what it does. It's basically a clean slate digital eraser that gets rid of all your fingerprints, all your face scans, and any DNA that's in any government database. Now, this is the device that Nat needs to wipe clean of all of her past, and the red that she talks about on her ledger. Remember, all of these files of hers went public in The Winter Soldier when she revealed S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra files. So it's quite possible that Yelena and other people's files were revealed in this same process, maybe even Mason's. Now, we have to remember that a portion of the movie does take place ruining the Red Room program, and Yelena wants to be as free as do the rest of the Thunderbolts because they have some troubling pasts. So she's the one who's going to need to win Nat's trust back the most. The Black Widow movie takes place in between Civil War and Infinity War for the majority of the movie, and we've clearly seen the vest and blonde hair that Nat wears in Infinity War, but the question is why? Since it's the same vest that Yelena has been seen wearing in the trailers, I believe it has to do with Nat covering up for Yelena to fake her own death. And how do you convince people that she's not here anymore? You also wipe her files completely out of existence. Nat will help her get off the grid if she helps her get rid of the Red Room program. Being off the grid using the Foxcharge would be a way to officially set up the Thunderbolts secretly, especially with Zemo back in the picture, Ghost not confirmed dead, and the fact that Justin Hammer is said to not be done with the MCU. I believe the team is there to be fully assembled in the near future, possibly even in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. All of these characters have had their near-death experiences or have thought to have been out of the picture by the Avengers, so Ross using these villains to his advantage will help the agenda of assembling together a team. Remember, there was also a leak that said that Marvel still had plans for Zemo and Justin Hammer a while back, and now that we have Zemo, I fully expect Hammer to join back into the story as well. All of these characters have had encounters with the Avengers before and do not like them, so joining Ross would be a no-brainer for revenge. So now we know what the Foxcharge does and what it can mean for the movie, but what exactly is this piece of hardware? I believe it has to do with the red-looking vials that we've seen. In my opinion, if you look closer, they actually look like there's two tubes connected to each other, so I wonder if this is a battery for the Foxcharge or it's actually the Foxcharge itself. Everything Always posted a video a few days ago on how it could be a battery like Captain Marvel's pager used. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, this movie will be showing how she was done running from her past, but also moving on to the future. She needed to confront her past first, being the Red Room program, which I believe she will take down. The Foxcharge is then to delete her past and get a clean slate, and realizing everyone she knew is not actually family because they've all gone against her, even if she doesn't realize. That scene where Red Guardian says family back together was highlighted in both trailers, but I believe it's just a way to fool us, because by the end, I think that the family will turn on her whether she knows it or not. And this plot ultimately leads to her feeling of completeness on Vormir, because she's going to realize that the civil war that forced her to leave was actually what she needed to fix in the end. And that's why she was caught in the middle of it during the entirety of Civil War. Because the Avenger family is her true friends and family, and that idea of family is a heavy presence so far in her past couple appearances, specifically in that endgame scene when she is talking to Steve and crying. I believe that the reason she goes back to the Avengers and we see her in Infinity War with Cap and Sam is because she realizes that this was her true family all along. I also think that Kevin Feige says that this movie will shed light on her endgame sacrifice because she realizes her destiny in the end. She got rid of the Red Room, she saved the next generation of widows from having to deal with what she did, and she erased her red on her ledger. I also believe that in the end, Yelena will become good and fully on her side. Maybe. But to get away from Taskmaster and Thunderbolt Ross, she's going to have to go off the grid with the Foxcharge that her and Nat obtained. Nat covering up her identity and reuniting with her long-lost sister, it will help her feel more complete. And I believe in this movie she realizes her goal in life was to in fact save the Avengers family who gave her that second chance. This was a longer one today. As always with plot theories, there obviously may be some holes in my theory, but I do hope you enjoyed watching. Remember, new videos every Monday night. I'm going to try to start doing a video Monday and Thursday, but we're going to have to see. No more of an outro is needed for this one. Comment below what you think, share, like, and subscribe. Other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm Another Marvel Guy, and I'll catch y'all on a blip.